The day has finally come. I am talking about the Narimi palette. So Narimi is a Chinese beauty brand by the, if I remember that correctly, Chinese beauty blogger Narimi Z. Unfortunately, the brand itself does not have an Instagram account or any social. It's just the profile of Narimi Z on Instagram, and she hasn't posted in a very, very long time. So I don't know what's going on with this. Maybe they're active on other socials that are more popular in China. I don't know, but thanks to Lookhealthystore, where you, by the way, can save 12% with my code ELLAGRAM, and on these palettes too, I was able to grab these. I just want to say that these are very limited, so once they're sold out, they're done. I basically grabbed 3 palettes from her. The first one is Black Ash. Can we please, by the way, talk about this beautiful anime cover art? I love that. And Black Ash is a very, very dusty blue color story mixed with a bit of swan. That's, by the way, the look that you will see first. That's what I'm wearing right now. Then we have Brown Amber, and looks quite neutral, but there are shades in here like Lamper. I can't wait to touch that. And my favorite probably out of those that I have is Fireflies in the Dark. And do we have to question why this could be my favorite? This is also the only one that has actually 3 shimmers. So I'm very excited for this palette, and I am kind of thinking about doing in this video maybe 2 with this. I don't know. My plan is to do 1 look with each palette so far. But now, enough of the ramble, enough of the intro. Let's start with look number 1. So I'm starting with the Black Ash palette. Let's take a look inside. This is a very dusty, cool toned color story. A little bit muddy, a little bit kind of weird. I have used this one already for a look, so this is not the first time. The other ones I haven't used, but here we have a peek at the color story, and I always fail to do swatches in the right angle so you can see them properly. This one in those 8 shades has only 2 shimmers, and honestly, the shimmers is actually what in this palette is really, really weak. I think the mattes are the ones that perform the best. They look like I have built them up, but they are mainly one swipe swatches. I just had to dip back in to just fill out the last corner of the swatch sticker, but these ones are very, very intense. I don't know how much you can tell, but there is a bit of glitter and a wet spot here on my shirt because I accidentally touched my shirt with the arm, and then I tried to wipe it off with a makeup wipe, and then I just saw that it is wet, and now I try to hide it. I'm starting with the shade Fog, and you can already tell they are a lot. And this one, I mean, come on, goes into the crease, but with a big fluffy brush like that, I just diffuse it up to the transition area too. On a smaller brush, I'm now going to Desolate. They are not only very pigmented, they are also very, very powdery and have a lot of kickback. So I apply Desolate here in the outer part and in the crease. I take an even smaller brush and now tap into Daytime, the pure white, and I just wanna soften up here because it just looks a bit patchy, messy. So I am actually very, very thankful for having a white in here. I take the same brush and tap now into Polar Night, and that one just goes on top of that blue and in the outer V. With no additional product on the first brush, I go over these edges here again. I applied my glitter glue, and now I go into the shade Ashes. And I start by tapping in the center, bringing it outwards and inwards. I basically cover my whole lid with this up to the crease. And then I take the brush I had Desolate on, and I go through the crease again and just smudge out these shimmer bits a bit. So the lower lash line, I'm starting with lining my waterline with the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk liner, because I'm now tapping into the shade Chaos, and I use this here to blend that out. And then I also tap into Veil, and I use this here underneath to just blend it out even further down. I tap now to Cicada, and this one is my inner corner highlight. And this is now our first finished look. I paired it with the Lisa Eldridge Sculpt and Shade Lip Pencil in the shade 0N and topped it off with the, what's it? The Dior lip oil in pink. Very pretty palette. I love this dusty blue vibe actually mixed with these warmer swampy colors. That gives just such a cool contrast, and I totally see how you can build a look maybe with Ashes, Veil, and Chaos, or just like these three. Simple look can look super pretty. So let's now move on to look number 2 and palette number 2. So we're now at look 2 and actually take 2 because I filmed already a look, but I accidentally deleted the complete footage. So now I have to film look number 2 after I was already done with the video. But you know what? That just gives me another excuse to just play with the Brown Amber palette from Narimi. And I just want to inform you that this palette unfortunately is now sold out on Lookhealthystore, and as I said in the intro, once they're gone, they're gone. So this one you cannot get anymore, but spoiler, there are upcoming new palettes. Just like the Black Ash palette, this one has only 2 shimmers, the rest are mattes, and we are having here a kind of cool toned pink side and then a more warm side. Please don't freak out because of this swatch here on top. There is something red going on that is not from the eyeshadow. That is actually because I, the day before that, filmed the third look with the Narimi Fireflies in the Dark palette. Why did I say the brand name? We're on the Narimi video, but you know what I mean. And the first 2 shades were super intense reds and they stained a bit my hand. Surprisingly not the eye. The mattes, again, super strong, super easy. They swatch like a fucking dream. But this one here, the pearl shade, is very translucent. It's more one of those thin ethereal shades, but it's also a tiny bit flaky. And this one, that was called Lamper. Oh, this is one of those oil spill shades, but a bit more soft. So I'm starting this look with Crevice, and that one goes into the transition area. Wait, why do I have already glitter on my eye? I have no clue. So next up I'm going into Coral, and this one goes very, very concentrated here on the outside, but I am kind of softening this out or in towards the center or the inner eye. Next up I tap into Agate, and that one also goes here in the outer V area like a smudged out wing, and then in the crease. I just had a brainwave going on because this one is not available anymore, and the vibe, I mean, look at this, it looks like wine, like fall, like just prettiness. There is a Beauty Bay palette that actually has a very similar vibe, and I'm talking about the Rich palette. This is now the 30 pan version, but there are also 9 and 16 pans, and aside from the fact that there is not such an oil spill shade in here, the vibe is absolutely similar. So if you cannot get the Brown Amber palette, but you're looking for something in that red wine fall vibe, then Beauty Bay Rich is actually a good dupe to that. Maybe not quality wise, because spoiler to the end, the Narimi mattes, chef's kiss. I mean, look at them. But I just wanted to share that thought with you. So good that I'm filming this again, because in the first try, I didn't think about that. I applied my glitter glue, and now I go into the shade Lamper, and I start to apply this here on the outer parts, and I basically fill in 2/3 of my lid with this. You know me, I'm a lazy fuck. I just flip the brush, and now I go with the other side into Pearl, and that one goes here on the inner part of the lid that is still bare. You don't press your brush too hard in the Pearl shade. There are no flakes coming off, but when I did the swatches, you know, I press a bit harder than I do with a handle and a brush. They get a bit flaky, but here with the brush, no flakes at all. Very pretty. And I love this super subtle gradient, so that it's not like completely two different colors. It's just like colorful, shifty to something more transparent, shimmery, lovely, translucent, ethereal like. Okay, how many words can I put in that description? All of them. I like that. My eyes are still a bit sensitive and watery because yesterday I had a lash stuck underneath my lid and it was just horrible to get out. So my eyes look very, very tortured. I just skipped the liner. I go directly again into agate here, but with one of those flat brushes. And I basically just smudged this here across the lower lash line. Can you just imagine the pain I went through because there was a lash stuck underneath my upper lid and I was not able to get it out because whenever I blinked, it moved and scratched my eye. Ugh, I already get pain. No, thank you. I now tap into the shade Fold and I use this a bit on top of agate and smudge it. Then I tap into Dandelion and I use this underneath the two shades just to soften everything a bit and to blend it down even further. I now go into Pearl again and I apply this here as my inner corner highlight and also connect it to the lid and just fill in that tiny part that I left bare with the first application. And Pearl will also be my brow bone highlight. And that is now the finished second look. For the lip, I used the lip cheat from Charlotte Tilbury in the shade Crazy in Love. And I topped that off with the new Armani Prismagloss. Yeah, Prismagloss in the shade 05. I think the shade name is Berry Beam. I'm a bit pissed that the names are not printed here on the tube itself. Beautiful look. I love this look as much as the first one that I did with this palette, although you never saw it because, again, I deleted the footage because I'm a dumb shit. But I really enjoy this palette. So let's now move on to the last look of this video. We're already at the last look of the video and also in the last palette. This is the Fireflies in the Dark palette, and mine has a weird thing, like that is because I do have here on top like a glob of glue and the back of the palette always touches it, but doesn't matter because the palette still works. And here is what this beauty looks inside. If this does not scream my name, what else does? So here we have a peek of the swatches. The shimmers, they are kind of weird in this one. So this one only looks nice because I had to build that up. Like, these are 3 layers of the shimmer, but keep in mind when I do swatches, I always use these like sponge tip applicators, so no primer, no glitter glue underneath. Could be the reason for that. Then we have this one. There is like a black shadow here. That is because I swatched accidentally, but too much of the black, so something crumbled here on the shimmer. But it is a glittery, translucent based blue and pink shifting shimmer. And then the last one, it looks like there is also some dirt happening, but it isn't. At least I didn't see any dark powder falling on there. And this is also more translucent, but with kind of a darkish base, and then it turns purple. So to me, this palette actually, although it's only 8 shades, has 2 components, because we have basically this part here, these 4 shades, and then we have these 3 shades. This one I'd call more universal, that can fit both vibes, but I think you get 2 beautiful color stories in one palette with the Fireflies in the Dark. Since all of these mattes are so intense and there, in my opinion, is not so much of a blending shade in here, I have to adjust my technique a bit. So I'm starting with the shade Blood this time. Oh boy. And I take a more dense round brush and I apply this directly in the crease. Holy shit. I now take a clean, more fluffy blending brush and I start to blend on top of these edges to diffuse it a bit. You can use a translucent powder or a skin colored powder for help, but without any product it works too. And now tap into the shade Witch, and that one goes directly into the crease too for some depth. With one of those super flat brushes, I tap into Macadam and I press that into the lashes. I don't want to line the upper waterline, but I want to give my lashes some depth here. And then I tap in again with a very small blending brush, and I start to smudge this here like a, I don't know, like a smoked out wing, kind of in that motion. And I just flick it a tad bit into the crease, not much. I applied my glitter glue and now I go into the shade Firefly. Start applying this here on the outsides. Take it up to the center and then I just leave like an inner third kind of bare. And with a brush and glitter glue here underneath, you see it's like completely different through the swatch. It's so much better. I now go into Secret. That one is a bit more on the flaky side. And I apply Secret here in the bare part of the lid. And then I tap back into Firefly and I just tap this a bit on this border so we don't have a harsh line between the two different shades. With the brush I use the black. I go over these edges here again. And then I use the brush for the crease color and go through the crease, but with no additional product. So for the under eyes, I now tap into Macadam again, and I use the same brush as I did for the lashes, and I press this here in the lower lashes, connect it with the upper lid, and then I just bring it all the way to the inner part. I then tap into Blood, and I use this to smudge out the black, to blend and to buff. For the inner corner highlight, I'm going, of course, into Star, and I surprisingly apply this on the inner corner. I did build the shade up a bit because I wanted to have it more intense. And here we have now the finished third and final look for this video. And as always, I forgot the freaking brow bone highlight. Why do I forget this always? Oh, I know why. Because to me, when my eyes are done, they're done. I then don't look back, but they're still missing. So let's pick up some of the Star shade again and just apply it here. Ooh, so pretty. So for the lips, I did apply the Glam Light Ghost Face Lip Liner. I basically lined the lips and then with the finger I just smudged it in so that I had like a gray layer on the lips. The lip gloss that I applied on top, the lip gloss that I applied on top is the Givenchy Black Pink Rose Perfetto Balm. And then I thought I'd share with you what I have as blush and highlight too, because I feel like with a look like this, a good blush that matches it ties everything together. So the blush is the Ghost Face blush from Glamlight actually, because obviously. And for highlight, I used the Noctilucent palette from Blend Bunny, and I used Dreamlight because this has a coppery red shift. It's like monochromatic without being too intense. So we are now done with all the looks. Because of time reasons, I'm not able to film a fourth look. Otherwise, I would have done another one with the Fireflies in the dark, but let's rank these palettes. I just realized I showed you the wrong palette. Fireflies in the dark is this one. But my least favorite palette actually, and I don't think this is a surprise, is Black Ash. Not because I don't like the color story, it's like compared to all the other color stories that I showed you, just the one that is, it's just my least favorite. I still love this foggy vibe. I think it's beautiful. So none of these palettes is a bad palette. Let me just get that out of the way. Number 2, and I don't think this is a surprise either, is actually this one. I thought when I bought these that I might love Black Ash more than this, but honestly, to me, what makes this palette the most special, first of all, we have a super interesting warm toned brick red color that applies very, very different, and I just love the way it looks. And this Lamper shade, oil spill shades are just giving me life. So no surprise that my favorite is actually this one. When I first saw this, I already knew you are the goat, you are the player, you are the one that fills my heart with joy. I just realized that I did not apply mascara. Did any of you notice that I'm not wearing mascara? let me fix that real quick. I don't know what happened that I just kind of missed that. Maybe I'm just too tired. What I want to say just to finish the video, I think all three palettes have one very, very important thing to just acknowledge in this video. Their strength is not the shimmers. Their power comes from the mattes. I mean, just look at them. Just look at these paint-like looking matte eyeshadows. This is what is giving life to this palette, and while I like the shimmers, there is a lot of room for improvement in the formulation. So as I said, once they're gone, they're gone. So make sure if you like these that you grab the one that you like or the other ones that are still there. On Lookhealthystore, there are other color stories. Like for example, there's one called Dadwood or something. That is still tickling me, but I just know that half of this palette is not for me. So just take a look at Lookhealthystore. I will also link the brands overview from Lookhealthystore, and then you can just scroll yourself. Just don't forget to save some money with the code. Okay, we're done here. I hope you liked this video. Tell me please, what was your favorite look? My favorite look is this one. I mean, it's red, it's black, it's dark, it's gothic-y, it's vampy. It's my vibe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see all the fun videos we're doing. Comment again your favorite look. And if you don't know what to comment, just comment Chinese makeup. So thank you so much, and I hope I can see you in the next one.